Hi, I'm Lazaro Hernandez.
And I'm Jack McCollough from Proenza Schouler.
And welcome to New York Fashion Week, the shows.
We're here launching our fall-winter collection, and with us today is the special star, Ella Emhoff.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Good to see you after 2 weeks.
No, it's been a little bit.
I know, we've been staring at your face for quite some time over these last 2 weeks.
I hope you're not sick of it yet.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, there's a lot of, it's definitely been a new experience for us putting together this digital show.
No, I know. Congratulations, first off.
Oh,
thanks.
Thank you.
On the presentation.
Thank you.
It's kind of a first for us. We're used to like just the normal shows. We're not used to this whole virtual thing, so
No, I can
it's taken
imagine.
some acclimating.
It's a whole new medium, you know. Like, we know how to put together a show after all these years, and what makes a good physical live show feel right. But like a video, it's so weird because it can be, I don't know, for us it can be like a narrative because it just, you know, it's like models and not necessarily like actors and I don't know, and like just a walking video too feels a little kind of basic.
Yeah, it's a little stale sometimes.
It's a little stale. So how do you make a compelling video and short enough that to sustain people's interest for, you know, 7 minutes, whatever it is? It's been a whole new medium for sure.
Yeah. Did you guys have to tailor your collection at the beginning to the video format, or?
You know, I think because the majority of people that see our collections aren't there in person, and they're not, you know, I think most people kind of experience our collections virtually anyway. Yeah. So I don't think it really kind of affected like our process or the types of clothes we were making. But you know, it's definitely kind of a new medium for us. It's been interesting exploring.
Speaking of new, that was your first thing you sort of ever did?
Yeah, no, that was my first ever fashion experience, honestly. It was definitely, I have to say, I was a little nervous.
Were you nervous?
Were you nervous? I was wondering if you were nervous.
You're a champ, though, the whole time. You
I was saying to Lazaro the other day when we were editing the video, I'm like, Ella looks like a pro. I feel like she's been doing this for a while. You know, she like got it on the first take. Other people, like, it took a kind of minute for them to kind of get into the
walk
groove.
was major.
I mean, thank you.
Were you
No, I
practicing?
definitely lost a little sleep the night before, half because I was worried I wasn't going to wake up in time.
Right.
Yeah,
it was an early call time.
It was definitely an early call time, but also, I mean, yeah, I'm walking for the first time. I'm in a professional environment like that for the first time. I'm meeting you guys for the first time. It was
funny.
all very, the anticipation was really high.
Right. I mean, it was like a big production. It was, you know, we were saying the day of, when Ella first came that morning, cause we shot like in Long Island, and call time was at like 7, so the car picked up here like at 4 in the morning.
And I woke up at probably 3-ish.
And it was the coldest day of the year.
It was right before the blizzard.
It was
right before the blizzard. It was the coldest day of the year.
Hit, like driving back.
Totally.
I think something I was most nervous about was that you guys were going to look cold on film, but I really don't think you get a sense for how brutal the weather actually was.
It was under 20 degrees that morning. When you got there, it was under 20 degrees.
I could feel it.
Yeah. We built that platform for you to stand on. You were like high heels.
I know.
20-degree weather.
No, it did feel, it was a very epic first experience with the fashion world.
Totally.
And I think that was a perfect way to jump into it because now a lot of the things I'm going to do. Yeah, that's kind of it's hit a bar. So it's going to take a little bit to get past that.
So how did you get in? How did you start fashion? What was your first sort of, I don't know, like what got you interested in fashion?
Well, for a really long time when I was younger, I wanted to be a designer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I would go, my mom was super into fashion, so I'd always play dress up in her closet and just wear her high heels.
That's how we all started with our moms.
Yeah, exactly. Just clomping around, like everything too big. And then I took it a little more seriously. I started taking courses at Central St. Martin's over summers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No way.
Cool.
No, I was really on track to doing that.
Like fashion design classes?
Yeah.
Cool. In London? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I spent 2 summers out there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. Definitely exposed me to the intensity of design school.
Yeah.
So I think in my senior year, I stepped back a little bit and went more towards the fine arts realm.
Yeah.
But more recently, during quarantine, I've completely transitioned back to fashion.
Well, we know that you're a big knitter. Do you want to talk about your work a little bit?
A little bit, sure. I've been knitting now for 13 years.
Oh wow, no way.
I started when I was super young, but I've only started like more recently taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
I did a course in machine knitting at Parsons.
Right.
And
that's for the fine art department, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. They sort of merged both interests.
Yeah, it's really, what's good about Parsons is you can kind of cross over. They don't have, you only are allowed to take these classes, you're only allowed to take these.
I feel like it was a little more like that when we were at Parsons.
What?
It was a little more like you're studying this or you're studying that. I feel like it's a bit more fluid now.
Because we were uptown, when we were in fashion, like the fashion department was uptown, when we were at Parsons, I mean.
No,
so it was like very different.
Now you guys are all in that 14th Street building, right?
That's cool.
It's all in that little
So you merged both disciplines, kind of?
Yeah, I decided to completely merge it, which is more fun for me because I love knitting, and especially during quarantine, being able to do that 12 hours a day was super nice.
For sure.
And obviously, like, I love creating clothing, as you guys know. It's super satisfying to be able to dream up something, make it, and then see people wear it. And
do you see the knitwear as like sort of more art or more design?
Well, it's interesting you ask that because that's a lot of what I've been talking about with my thesis professors now because
you're in the fine art department.
I'm in the fine art department making knitwear, so it's a hard. It's hard for them because they don't know really what to say about it. When I show them a pair of striped knit pants, they're like, "That's nice."
Right.
Cool.
And do you see these pieces like hanging on a wall, or do you see them being used and being functional?
More functional.
Yeah.
I think I have started now treating a lot of my pieces more as like fine arts. Almost seeing the yarn as painting and creating paintings through yarn. Exactly. So I'm trying to meld it together more, possibly including some performance-based work.
Cool.
But
there is that aspect of fashion for sure, the performance of it.
100%. So I do see less of a separation between the two, which for me opens up a lot more expression, and I don't feel so stuck with the commercial route, and I can do things that are more expressive or creative or
I think that's why fashion, I mean, why Parsons is so cool. I think they let you kind of create your own narrative. Like when we were at Parsons, I don't know if we've spoken about how we started, but Jack and I were separate people. Yeah. We were each like kind of our own, we did our own thing for a while at school. And senior year, we decided to kind of we were kind of like so competitive with each other that we decided to like, let's collaborate or we'll kill each other. And so we asked like the dean of the fashion department, can we just do one collection as a thesis instead of two separate ones? So we presented one project between the two of us.
I'm surprised they let you do that.
They had never let anyone do that.
It was the first in Parsons history. It was the first collaborative senior thesis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we kind of went before the year started to the dean of students, who was actually Tim Gunn at the time.
Remember Tim Gunn from
this is my gosh.
This is before he was like this is before he was a big celebrity. He was just like our dean of students, Tim Gunn. We're like, Tim, can we? We want to work together on this thesis. We want to collaborate. And we're like, can we do it? He's like, well, no one's really ever done this.
We had started dating at the time, so it's sort of,
But he's like, no one's ever done this in the history of Parsons. I've got to run it by a couple people, but in the end, he kind of let us do our thing, and that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah, they've been pretty cool about just, letting you do your own thing.
Oh yeah,
I would imagine you're like deep in your thesis now because it's your final semester at Parsons, right? Yeah.
Deep in my thesis. Kind of. I think quarantine
now she's got this whole modeling career going on. You have to balance that too.
I'm balancing a lot of different things right now. It's a mix of obviously modeling right now and thesis, but also trying to develop my own knitwear brand. So it's definitely a lot, but I feel like having this time down for so long, I'm ready to just go.
Totally.
And kind of
Is that kind of your dream? You want to like start your own brand when you graduate, or do you want to work for someone? What are you thinking?
I think the dream is my own brand.
That's the dream.
And,
that's what our dream was.
It's very American in a way, to
very
kind of
entrepreneurial.
To come out of school and like kind of create your own thing.
No,
I think a lot
100%.
of Europeans, it's not so much of a European thing. I don't know. We're proud to be Americans and be able to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think so many people are doing that right now, especially with the use of Instagram and so many like smaller brands, especially textile based, are launching right now. It's not that out of the question for especially people who aren't going to art school.
Do you wear your own stuff? Do you model your own stuff?
I wish I wore my own stuff a lot more. I would say my personal style versus my brand aesthetic are completely different.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I have a lot of highly colorful, childish, they've been branded as Muppet-ish before, which I don't know how I feel about, but I guess I see it.
Other people call it that, or you call it that?
Other people call it that, but it's definitely more playful, and I think in my personal style, I'm very simplistic. I have a uniform of like a white tank top and black pants.
Right.
That's like who we are.
No, it's nice to not have to almost think about it in a sense, and put all that creative energy into the work, but more recently, I've started wearing it because I like it. The more I create, the more I make things that I want to wear myself, which is kind of the goal. I
think that's what's interesting about being like a female designer creating female fashion. You could sort of interact with it, you could wear it, you could see how it feels. Like for us as being guys designing women's clothes, it's sometimes there's like this sort of layer of separation between like the things we make and you know, we can imagine what it feels like, but there's like this layer of separation. Like it must be cool. Like, you know, we don't make menswear, but we'd love to make menswear because we'd want to.
I would love to
like wear it and kind of see how it feels and see how we live in it and just.
Because who knows best than you guys?
You know, just the person wearing it. So I would imagine as a female designer, like creating women's clothes must be just so much cooler.
No, it's definitely fun to be able to create clothes that I'm going to be able to wear, but I think it's also hard because right now I'm just using myself as a mannequin. Like I have a very untraditional setup, so working on being size inclusive and all of that is definitely has been a process of kind of taking information from everywhere and kind of boiling it down and then adding it to my designs.
And would you launch it as like a kind of unisex concept?
Totally.
Or, for sure.
I would definitely say it's unisex, because I want to see guys, girls, people. I want to see everyone wearing colorful striped pants or my dresses or whatnot.
Yeah,
I think I think that'd be great.
What's been your favorite part of modeling? Like what part of it are you sort of inspired by and interested in?
I think my favorite part is just wearing the clothes.
Yeah.
Because
like
obviously,
seeing the clothes.
Seeing the clothes, being able to touch it, being able to look at the craftsmanship, and also it's just a fun way to dress up.
Totally.
Like being in front of the camera in a crazy outfit.
It's like being a character.
Totally.
It is almost like acting.
Yeah.
And
it
as
is
a child
in a lot of
actor, I love it.
You're a child actor?
Okay, musical theater
yeah.
doesn't count, maybe.
I can sort of see that.
No, it definitely, you do put on a different persona in a sense that, I mean, I wouldn't do that as much in my personal life, but it is a whole other world.
For us working with like our favorite models are the models that love the clothes. Like when they're like, oh my God, that thing, or they gravitate towards a garment on a rack, and you know that they love what they're wearing and they feel it, because I think it shows in pictures. Like when a girl is feeling what she's wearing or on the runway or whatever, like I think that energy really comes across. And those are like our favorite girls to work with. Like when girls come in and they just like are like whatever, and they just put it on, they're like, and they don't know what it is or they're not interested in it. It's less inspiring for the designer, I think.
Yeah, than someone who wants to actually engage and interact with
or
the
loves
clothing.
it, wants to touch it, like, oh my God, this thing, or, you know.
And they kind of understand it a bit more. They get into the attitude of it, and that really shows in the pictures.
Yeah.
Did you have an attitude that you were going for this collection?
God, I knew you were going to ask us what the inspiration of the season is. Like that, there's a question that we will answer for you, but like that's the hardest question to answer.
I don't know what I'd answer.
Like when people backstage,
it's my most.
Are like, what's your inspiration this season? It's to like kind of create a soundbite.
Sometimes it's my most hated question. Well, also for us, it's just kind of our process is so abstract. It's first of all, it's two of us designing, so we're coming in it with like two very different ideas. We're figuring out how our ideas are going to meld together, but it's very much about building ideas. We start with just a couple loose things, and then we'll discover something else and add it into the mix. And it's this slow kind of build of this, you know, if it looks like one specific idea in the end, I don't think we've done a great job. I think it's when you can't quite put your finger on what the references are, that's when I know we've done our job well. So so to then break it down into words, into what our inspiration is, it's sometimes more abstract.
It's so reductive to put it into words, but I mean, to put it into words, I guess, like we're really interested these days in reduction and just reducing as much as possible and the opposite of excess and bringing things down to earth and padded puffy shoes that are low to the ground and coats and things that feel like, you know, luxury and that they feel really good against your body and they feel like there's a practicality to the clothes somehow. They're not these, I don't know, you can go like this sort of practical route, you can go like this sort of fantasy over the top. And like we've done that over the years at different points, but for us what feels right now is just this idea of reducing and making things that are easy and make one's life easier and less complicated. Like that's what we think women want right now, what we want right now, what people want right now, is things that just make your life easier and feel better.
I mean, it's an interesting time to be designing collections right now, a year after COVID began, because you can't help to not respond to like this very moment that we're living in.
Yeah, you have to.
But you also
fashion is.
But you also have to kind of remember that, like, you know, this collection comes out in 6 months, and what's the world going to look like in 6 months?
It's not going to be forever.
Are people going to be vaccinated? Is it going to feel like the Roaring 20s again? You know, like so you kind of have to tap into right now, but tap into a little bit of the future, and the future, especially these days, it never feels so much more uncertain. So it's an interesting thing to navigate.
The way we create is very much like, how do we feel right now? Like, what are we into right now? Like we say it's a little autobiographical in that way, that it comes from a completely, like, what are we feeling? Like, what's our mood? Like, what do we think feels right now? It's not so much like, what's the world gonna be like in 6 months when these clothes hit the market? It's like less like that. It's more about, like, what are we into? What feels right? What do we want? And every 6 months that changes. Or sometimes it doesn't change, you know, but I don't know.
I think maybe in the past, when we first started, every season was very much about like a complete revolution.
Yeah.
We're interested in so many different ideas. We'd like dive deep into one world and to the point of exhaustion, and then we just kind of move on to another world that we want to explore. And I think now it's a little bit more of an evolution. It's a slow build on ideas over the course of many seasons, and not this total redo. I also just think like the way women dress, they don't like change their look completely from one season to the next.
It's a slow,
like,
gradual.
I don't know any women like that. They're like building on ideas that already exist in their life.
How do you group your body of work? Is it collections, or is it item by item, or?
It's more, I mean, as I'm just kind of getting into it, and I'm only one person who can't kind of throw out a whole collection right now, it is more piece by piece, and I see it. I think
you see a link between the pieces?
Definitely. It's all very, whether it's linked between pattern or physical shape or, I guess, content, like cartoonish, kitschy.
Or material, like the yarn.
I use the same yarn for all my pieces.
Oh, cool.
So it's
what's the yarn?
It's merino wool.
Okay.
But I'm trying to explore more materials, because I know a lot of people are allergic to wool, so I'm trying to be inclusive in that sense also. But
cotton's a good one. No one's allergic to cotton.
No, but it's also with the knitting machine, it's hard to find yarns because it's so specific, and it has to be such a specific weight of yarn.
Of course.
We told you to come to our studio.
I know, we're telling you that at the shoot. You got to come by the studio.
We'll give you some yarns, some good yarns that we have lying around.
Always welcome to yarn.
Yeah.
My yarn, that's another thing. My yarn collection, while I use the same yarn, is
blowing up.
Ridiculously expansive.
Sure. And are you starting to use different machines and stuff?
I have 3 machines now. My friend actually just bought me one at a random thrift store for $10.
Whoa.
Absolutely blew my mind, but I'm trying to get a space where I can just have them all laid out, and I just want to do things. I just want to test out and do samples and be able to be more creative and experimental in that sense, where when I'm stuck in my bedroom, it's hard to switch out my machine, which would take an hour or so, and then like throwing it on my bed.
It's so great, and I feel like your work is going to get so much attention because of your new platform with IMG. That's great. How did the IMG thing happen?
Well, I how did it even happen? They
just contacted you?
It's honestly been
gave you a
such
shot one day.
It's been such a process that at first I was signed to my mother agent, and that was going for a bit. And then surprisingly, I was at an event for my stepmom, and the president Ivan was there and saw me.
Well, the whole world saw you at that event.
Well, no, this was a really small event.
Oh, a small year ago. Oh, no way.
Like,
before the inauguration.
Yeah, super small in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Ivan was there.
And was there.
Interesting.
Saw me.
I just clocked
and
you.
then was like, okay, got you. And then my agent had been in contact with IMG.
He's great, Ivan.
And then
for so many years.
It's all kind of
When you came out on TV, everyone was like, "Who's that girl?" Like the texts that were going around the fashion community, like, "Who's in that coat? Who's that?" It was amazing. It was so funny. Like, there's very few moments in fashion when like that kind of thing happens. When everyone's like, "Oh, who's that person? Who's that?" Like Kaya was like that kind of person. And Meadow was kind of that kind of person for us. There's just like these little moments that, like, just a new face appears on the scene and everyone's like, who's that person?
And
like,
so totally refreshing to kind of see that kind of face in such an unexpected
and cool when the person's actually
situation.
Cool. When it's not just like a face, sometimes it's like this amazing face, and then everyone like meets the person like,
it's like, not what I was expecting.
She's like 12. and she's,
No, it is
actually
interesting.
Meet the person, they're like just like a cool rad
for
girl.
sure. When you came to set, I'm like, oh, this is actually someone we could hang with.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad to hear that, because it is weird when everyone just sees you on TV.
Just a facade.
But then, even just on Instagram, it is all such a play of who you are, and then you have to really internalize to yourself that, no, you have a personality and you do things, but it is really refreshing to hear that.
And at least it's like a first step into like getting your actual voice out there. Like now you have a platform to kind of say what you need to say and what you want to say, and create the work that you want to create.
Yeah, it's been super nice being able to have that platform and be able to do some good and be able to use my knitwear for good causes and fundraising and
keep the interest. keep the allure.
What kind of fundraising are you doing with your knitwear? What projects are you working on?
For a while, I've been doing like little knit raffles because a lot of people want the pants, but
I saw it on your Instagram.
I do some knit raffles for the girls.
How does that work? Like people submit their names and you pick one?
Yeah. I have people donate to. The past one I did was for the girls and the Okra Project. Cool. I mostly focus on trans foundations.
Cool.
Great.
So I have them email me their donation receipts. Put it all in a
proof.
Yep. I put it all in an Excel spreadsheet, and then I do the little namepicker.com, and I do it, and I'll make them just custom pants.
And then you alert the person that they won?
No, it's all through Instagram, so.
And this is for pieces that have already been made, or you've got?
No, I make it.
So then it's like made to order.
Yeah,
basically.
Custom size, custom color.
So it's custom size and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you work with the person on sort of customizing it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I want them to get what they want, because they've donated, they've waited, they've gone through the whole process.
It's custom.
And it's fun for me because I love making people what they want and then seeing them get excited about it.
I know, right?
Of course. Are you kidding me?
I want like a cap or something.
That's great. So and you make it to their proportions. So it's like couture, basically.
I mean, it's a little knitwear couture.
It's a little
it is hard though with knitwear because it is like there is a lot of give, but there's also.
That's the beauty of knitwear too.
It's hard because when I make pants, I have pretty long legs. Yeah. A lot of people don't have the same leg length, and when I was first making pants, it was so hard because I'd send them out. They'd say, Ella, this is like a 30-inch inseam. I'm 5'4".
Right. And knit pants aren't like woven pants where you could just hem them. You want that like nice finished edge. I
definitely respect the people from
the
beginning who sent me their stuff back, and I was like, I'll fix it. I promise.
You fix it for them?
Of course. I mean, I want people to be able to wear them. I don't want to just give it out and say,
of course.
Oh, you have it now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Happy customers.
Yeah. A happy customer honestly makes a happy Ella.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, good luck with all that.
I know.
Seriously, it's so
any
cool.
way we could help, for real. We got to get you over to the studio. We've got like a vast library of knit swatches that I'm sure you'd get into.
I would
you should come over either way.
Yeah, no, I've heard amazing things about the studio, so
it's fun.
Definitely got to go see it for myself.
It's a good creative. It's a lot of work. It's everyone's like working all the time around the clock.
How long does it roughly take?
To do a show?
To do a season?
Yeah, season.
Yeah, I mean, we put out 4 a year, you know, so 3-4 months, I'd say. There's always like a lot of overlap.
It's a lot quicker than I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten pretty good at like turning them out.
Yeah.
We'll take as long as they give us. If they give us 6 months, we'll take 6 months. If they give us 2 months, we'll.
To be honest, I
months.
prefer to work on like a tight timeline. When there's too much time, you start overthinking things, and you're not going with your instinct, and you're second guessing everything.
Yeah.
It's nice when you're just like on that time crunch, and you just got to get it out there.
I prefer the opposite. He likes a short one. I like a really fast one. I mean, a really long one.
Like spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, because spring, we show spring in September, and we show fall in February. So February to September is 7 months. So we've got 7 months to basically put the collection together. Yeah. But then it's 5 months, September to February. So it's always a bit quicker. And then we've got pre-collections in between.
There are a lot of
It's
different.
nonstop.
It's
and then,
all
you know,
time.
bags and shoes, and we have white label now as well. So it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Have you interned anywhere at all? Speaking of interns?
Yes, I have interned more though at, what's it called? Like fine arts places. I was interning over the summer at The Vampire's Wife, where I did more.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I did more administrative work, but.
Is she based out of here?
No, in
LA?
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I usually go back to Los Angeles to work.
Right.
But I know a lot of people who intern with design houses, and they just say it's like no other.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It's such an incredible education. We both interned while we were at Parsons, and
where did you intern?
I was at Marc Jacobs. He was at Michael Kors.
Yeah.
So you guys know.
And you know, it's just you learn like just the process of putting a collection together.
Yeah.
Like you learn the more formal stuff at school, how to sketch and gouache, and you know. Put together a jacket. I wonder if they're still gouaching. We had to use gouache. I'm like, you guys really?
God.
But you know, interning, you see like the hands-on process of picking fabrics or putting a show together, whatever it is. It's just, and usually even the bigger companies, like they've got quite small design teams.
Yeah.
So it's just a hands-on kind of experience.
But it's so fun. Like, I mean, and the whole show process, like we didn't experience it this season. Hopefully next season, like we'll go back to having shows, and you'll be able to start walking shows, which is, you know, there's an adrenaline aspect of that is unlike anything else. Like the video's cool, and it's a whole new medium, and it's interesting technically, and it's, you know, it's fun in its own way. And we did a book the season before that, which is also its own thing and also fun. But nothing comes close to a show. It's also, you do it once, and it's like 10 minutes, and it's done.
They're a lot shorter than I expected.
They're super short, but they're, you know, it's great. It's like all this emotion and energy, and everyone's watching, and it's like live stream, and it's all just at once. And the girls love it, and they get a high from it, from just like, you know, I don't know. It's such an emotional thing, and then you're done. Whereas this is a little bit more like, you know, we shot that day, and then. And then the next day we have to like edit, and then like do this, and then do that, and it's like 2 weeks later we're still working on it.
I know sometimes in the past we always complained about the intensity of the shows, and now that we're doing this, I'm like, bring us back to shows.
Oh my God, they can't come
like now
enough.
It's like we've got to like do interviews with all the editors, but it's like one Zoom at a time. Like before, it's like they just all come backstage, you speak to them for 5 minutes, and you're done. Now it's like 2 days worth of Zoom interviews.
It's like more, it's great because it's more one-on-one, and you get to have this more personalized experience, but it's so much more time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing is just so much more time consuming now.
Do you think you would ever in the future, because I feel like a lot of people are going to incorporate more of this new style of presenting. Could you see yourself?
I think the future is about like fluidity in every way. I think some seasons, we'll have a show because it's a season it's fun, and the season calls for that, and the clothes call for that. And then some seasons that are maybe a little more quiet, and it's more of a book or more of a digital thing. I don't know. I think from season to season, things will hopefully just evolve and change, and I don't know, go with the flow. You kind of have to these days.
I mean, that's with everything.
You know, just go with the flow, see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've learned so many like great lessons through this last year that I think it'd be a shame if like the world opened back up and we just went back to normal.
Yeah,
I think a lot of cool things have happened through this that we definitely want to kind of carry
Met people
forward.
like you.
I mean, no, I think I am excited to see what happens once everything goes back to normal, because people have had to do so much changing and like flexibility that I think people have gotten really creative with the presentation. So
I think this season will be very interesting. I think like last season, it was the first kind of season of not having shows, and I think everyone was a little bit kind of like what do we do? And I think sort of the industry has coalesced around this idea of these digital shows. I think that's sort of the norm now. So I think this season will be the first time that everyone does their version of that thing.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of interesting films, I think, this season.
Do you have a show you're looking forward to? Besides your own, obviously.
I don't know. I'm always interested in what
I'm always interested in what other people are doing.
What Mucha and Raf are doing is kind of interesting, and Raf is an old friend of ours, and love what's going on there, and that's always interesting to watch. But besides that, we sort of stay away. And we're on vacation, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, thanks for sitting down with us.
I know.
Kidding me? Thank you. This has been such a nice way to spend my money.
It's good to see you in a nice warm room after that crazy cold day of ours.
I know, being able to be all warm and stop chattering and covered in little blankets.
Exactly.
Sorry about that.
I mean, hey, it was memorable. That'll go down as one of the most insane things.
That was a good way to start your career, right?
No, I'm
just
honestly very happy.
Everything's going to feel so easy after that.
I'm going to be like, oh, you want me in this field and it's 40 degrees? Whatever.
I've done that.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Well, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you guys.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ella. All right, well, thanks for tuning in today.
Please catch the show at nyfw.com, starring Ella Emhoff.
And thank you to IMG and the shows.